Good day, my loves. Good day, good day, good day. I hope you are well. It is 2:02 p.m. on the clock on this beautiful Sunday, sunny March 6th afternoon. It is glorious day, actually. And I'm sitting here watching Paul Mooney, and he's always been funny. And some of the stuff I know I've heard before. But it got me to thinking, oh my goodness. Y'all, the thought just went out my head. Because he's talking about Planet of the Apes. That's what it was. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thought I was about to have another moment, like, because this one was a really good revelation. So I just put a couple of pieces of the puzzle together. Y'all ever watch that show? And it's a series, I believe, on not YouTube but Netflix, called Hunters. And basically, if you watch it, I think it's only one series, part one. I think it's only one, what you call it, one time. Like it's not more than one airing of it. It's like 8 episodes, maybe 16, something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. But the premise of it is that you have people who are of the Jewish descent, um, and some of them have sought to seek revenge themselves and go out, because some of them survived Auschwitz and Dachau, which I happened to go visit. And the premise of the show is that them retaliating. It's like a secret organization, and they're going out and they're killing, they're executing um, Nazis, those that killed their family, those that ran the camps, etc., etc. And the twist of it is, at the end of it, the man who was the head of it actually was a Nazi. He assumed the identity of the Jewish men, who he enslaved, and he caught himself up because when he killed who supposedly was the one who killed his wife, he killed him without hesitation. And the man was about to say something, which is always suspect when you're watching a movie. And so at the end, it comes to find out, because the grandson, who he thought this was his grandfather because his grandmother had been in love with him, because this was the man that was in the camps. But she didn't know that all this time that the Jewish man that was the millionaire and that had looked out for her and her family and that she fell in love with after the camps was a Nazi. Okay? Stay with me now. I'm going somewhere. So in the movie, at the end of it, the grandson had read it throughout the thing. In one of the episodes, the grandson had read the letters of the grandfather. Okay, he read the letters, and in it, he had rehearsed what he would say to the man that destroyed his life. That destroyed his life. Destroyed his life. And so when the grandson read the letters, he realized, he started putting the pieces together. He said, "Why didn't you say so and so?" He said, "No, because I don't think he was there when he shot him, but somebody else was there." So they're having this, he's having doubt. So he's having this discussion with his grandfather. And then it comes up that somehow or another that the grandfather did not say, and I got air quotes for the grandfather, did not say what he had rehearsed and what the grandson had read in the letter. And it dawned on him that he is not who he say he is. And then the man confesses. I say all that to say, and then there's movies, and it's factual that there are a lot of Nazis that came to America. It's documented. It really is. It's documented. that there are a lot of Nazis that came to America. And I want to say this because I do know what we are fighting is a lot of, I've spoken about it before, so we all know what we're fighting. We know what we're fighting. We're fighting. I had a dream about it, and I told you guys about the dream. That's that is what we're fighting. We are fighting the principality of Nazi propaganda, all that stuff that came along with that. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Nazis believed in homosexuality too. I believe that. So I'm not correlating it to bad behavior. I'm just putting pieces of the puzzle together and how the movies depict it and how it also tells us the truth, which means that there have been Nazis that infiltrated, I'm going to say, black people. I really am. I really am. It's just amazes me. That's why you got to remember that everybody that look like you ain't like you. Their spirit is not the same. We don't know what spirit inhabits that avatar. We really don't. And to me, when I see the signs and symbolisms now from back when I was coming up and I was talking to people, especially the undercover narcissist, the man, he was definitely a Nazi. Everything about him. I can recall a conversation we had about Katrina, and basically he said they should have drowned. They picked to die. No, basically that's what he's saying. They picked to live, but in his head he was probably saying dying, but he said they picked to live in a place under sea level. And I thought that was like the harshest thing. I talked to this man for 2 hours trying to get him to have compassion and to have reason, and it didn't happen. It did not happen. He probably brainwashed me in some sort of way. I don't remember. And this is a man who was older than me. But I remember talking to him for 2 hours and just was like, okay, we gotta agree to disagree because you you just don't get it. He don't get it. He did not get it. And the fact that his child is very demonic, like from a long time ago. A long time ago. That's the thing because I walked that life, but I wasn't all the way asleep. I just wasn't because I remember everything he said. They had been in therapy for a long time. That's what I'm saying. There's no way on God's green earth that this man did not know he was a narcissist because he has been in therapy for a long time. Him and his whole family. He just never thought I would connect the dots. He just never did. He just never thought I would connect the dots. He just never did. My ancestors had me shielded. God had me so well protected because I saw the good in everybody. That was my protection. That's why I'll never regret it. I saw the good in everybody. I saw his potential. I saw his light. He didn't see his light, but then there was a lot of things that I didn't know that he went through in life and what he was doing in life. I didn't know. I didn't know until after. I just didn't know until after. After I cut that cord and deleted off Facebook, that's when. But yeah, I didn't know. I saw his light. I'm like, everybody has problems. Everybody. And he tried to tell me several times. He told me in so many ways. So many ways. Even when dealing with his son, he was like, no, you really don't understand. And I don't know if he understood, but to me, okay, so when his son was going to therapy in the beginning, I will say, because I seen the switch in people who, when they get it, when they realize either who I am or who they are or the both at the same time. And so when he went to theology school, he knew. But I also believe he was part of a fraternity, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that. Or he knew a lot of people, because definitely he was in the occult. Definitely. Because I know when we was together, he stole my underwears and everything. And he had thousands of pictures. Every picture I posted, from the moment that we went, I friended him on Facebook, he was downloading pictures of me. He told me. But my confused mind thought it was like, it was a little weird, but I thought it was endearing, like, because he was so quiet and he was so shy, that he just had a hard time expressing himself. Those are the things that I told myself. That's that empathic nature. That's that want to see the good in everybody, but everybody's intentions are not good. There are some shy people that have a hard time expressing themselves. Yes, that is indeed true. But listen, people have to evolve, and he never evolved, and he kept hurting me every time. He come in my life and then disappear, come in my life and disappear. Now I know why though, but yeah, you just gotta be mindful. But I was thinking that because a lot of, huh, or maybe it's not, they're infiltrating something. I watched a video when they were talking about black Saturnian men, and think about it. The most misogynistic music come from black men. But are they black on the inside though? Or have we allowed Nazi spirits to infiltrate our ranks? The melanated population, not just black people. Because just because you may have white skin doesn't mean you aren't melanated on the inside. I've come to gather that information too from watching videos. I will back them up. I can't wait to get books, but I want to be in my own space so I can read them, and that's okay. But right now, yeah. So you have to be mindful who you're interacting with, because just because their skin is melanated, I'll say that, let me use that word. Just because their skin is melanated on the outside does not mean that their spirit is one of nature, one of God. Doesn't mean that. That's what spirituality is. It's becoming one with yourself and one with nature and one with the divine flow. That's three hierarchies in one. We are at the bottom. And then there's nature. Then there's nature. Then there's nature, which is spirituality. And then there's divine flow from our Creator. We can't go against that. We can't go against it. When we do, we come up against resistance. And sometimes resistance is the devil trying to stop you from being on your path. But sometimes, unless you are awakened to what your path is and not what you've been bred to think your path is. If you're still talking about your path is a doctor because that's what you've always wanted to be, then this video is not for you. If you're still at the point where you're talking about, I always wanted to be a teacher and I want to teach these kids, but this is not for you, because it's thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the matrix, thinking outside of what your parents taught you, thinking outside of what religion taught you, thinking outside of what your peers growing up taught you. Because what you were taught was trauma bonding, and so you learned behaviors that were acceptable during that time that you were growing up. Why? Because it shielded you from a lot of things. However, the energies that are hitting this planet now do not allow for that, because the veil has been lifted. It's too much going on. You must get connected with yourself. You have to. You got to get connected with your higher self, which is your intuition, that little voice that we were bred and raised to ignore. And you know how we were bred and raised to do that is whenever time, and this is no judgment. This is no judgment on any parent that does this. This is just informative so you can change your ways, because you were raised to do this. You were raised, and right now it's subconscious, but once I bring it into your awareness, you can start to do the change and evolve in a different way. It is not going to be overnight. Trust me, I tried to do it overnight for 3 years, yo. It's not going to do overnight. So take your time with it and allow yourself to have compassion for yourself. And don't get frustrated because it's not happening in the time that you allow, because what is the third? Divine flow. Well, actually the first. We are the third. Divine flow. The animals and the plants were here before we were too. That's why we are third. How can we live on a planet and not respect everything that came before us? God, plants, animals. ancestors, they're all in one, right? Different hierarchy, but all in one. And I'm learning that on this journey. I still struggle. I'm not above it, y'all. I am so not above it. Until I can tell y'all I stopped smoking and it's been such and such a month, just assume that I have not. There's no sense. I tell y'all all my business. I do. Especially when I struggle because I feel like it'll help somebody uh, overcome it themselves, especially they don't have the means or the opportunity to seek help outside of themselves. And you in the house like me, and you got to do the work yourself. Here are some tools. Here, I'm giving you the keys to what's helping me get to where I am right now. Now, I don't know how it's going to happen for me to get to where I want to be. I really don't. Every day I just get up and I strive to do something new. I implement something new, something I have not done before in my life that is going to help me break out of what cycle I am in. Because ultimately it's up to me. It doesn't matter that the planets are aligned, and I mean it does, but ultimately it's what I put into action. If I'm going to continue to sit and sulk and think about the negative, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm just going to keep manifesting that in my life. So for the past 4 months, y'all seen the progress. Y'all seen me when I've had a little breakdown or whatever the case may be. But you always see me come back up. Always. And that's been me my whole life because I know everything is a lesson. And I know trouble really don't last always. It does not. Sometimes it lasts for weeks and months and years on end. But there's always breaks in it. And I appreciate those breaks. I appreciated those breaks when I had those moments in between those black magic years. I really do. Because I remember smiling and laughing and enjoying myself. It may have been stifled, it may have been guarded, it may have been filled with a lot of pain, but I still remember enjoying those moments. Even being wrought with pain, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually going through hell. That is serious, right? So I say all that to say, everybody that look like you ain't like you. And you can tell by the vibration that they're vibing in. And then you can back up what you're feeling by their actions. If they're engaging in where you're not trying to go, let me put it that way. Because everybody has their own definition of what low vibrational behavior is. So I'm just going to generalize it and say you tailor it to your circumstance and what you believe about yourself and where you believe you want to go and what you believe is going to get you to get there. Okay, whatever tools you need, but you still gotta experience the lows in order to get to the highs. You do. There's no way around it. I spent my life thinking about it, and when things started going left and things started going wrong, I'm like, what in the world is happening? I tell you, I had an existential crisis at the age of 25. I did, and I remember it vividly. And I'm sure I talked about it, and I'm sure I wrote about it. I remember distinctly telling my family about it, and then I happened to come across an article about the 25-year quarter life crisis. And it hit right on the head what I was feeling, what I was thinking. But I was in a fog. I was in a fog and didn't even know it. I want to see if I can look up that article again and see if I can read it now with these new set of eyes. That's what I'm finna do in a minute. I'm about to do that. I'm about to do that. So I say all that to say, just because they have melanated skin on the outside doesn't mean that they are for the people, that they are for you, especially if they're in a certain circumstance and they're constantly hurting you. They're not for you, my loves. All right? I just need you guys to know that. All right? But I do believe in what I said. Remember, the key to this matrix, and one of the keys is that they can lie to you, but they also have to tell you the truth. It's up to you to discern the truth, and that's my discernible truth for myself. Namaste, Ashe, Mazel Tov.